Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dorothy Guyton. I'm the married mother of 3 daughters. I've been married for 19 years. I am a veteran of the United States Army, where I served in the first Gulf War. I'm a recent seminary graduate with a master's degree in Christian Studies. I have 3 published works: Diary of a Wannabe Gardener, The Politics of Prayer, and the book I'll be introducing you to today, When Will Eve Be Forgiven? I would like to take this time to say, even though I've been gardening for over 18 years, I still consider myself a beginning gardener, and I look forward to going over my non-fiction tale of Cynthia and her adventures as a gardener. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my book. My book is a beginning exploration for dialogue, as I tell and go over in the introduction of the book. When Will Eve Be Forgiven begins with the creation of woman and what it means for a woman to be made in the image of God. We understand when we think of a man being made in the image of God, we can fully understand that concept, relate to that concept, and feel comfortable with the concept of a man being made in the image of God. But I don't think we relate as easily to what it means for a woman to be made in the image of God. So I took the opportunity in this book, When Will Eve Be Forgiven, to address that subject. What does it mean for a woman to be made in the image of God? I followed through with a thorough dissection of the fall of man and its consequences on all of the guilty participants. I delved into how the patriarchs of Christianity viewed women in antiquity. One man of Christian history by the name of Tertullian said women are the gateway to hell. In the Proverbs, Solomon warns they are someone to keep an eye on. And Paul said women are easily deceived. Paul speaks a lot in the New Testament about the role of women in the home and in the church. So I look at Paul's teachings on women, especially in the book of Timothy, where he instructs not to allow women to speak, but to remain silent in church. I examine the passages in its entirety, piece by piece, along with the atmosphere of that time, to give a fuller picture of Paul and the people he were evangelizing in Ephesus when the letter to Timothy was written. I give examples in my book of women in the Bible and their relationship with God, and I end the book by giving you lists of women who are named in the Bible and women who are not named in the Bible, who were very instrumental to Christianity growing and maintaining its hold in the known world. I picked out some interesting women. Maybe some of them never have been mentioned before, but had great faith and great works in the history of Christianity. Now, the reason I wrote this book, a lot of people say, and I explain it also within the first few pages of the book. I wrote this book to help women discover what their internal self-image looks like. I wanted to help those suffering from what I have come to coin as Eve syndrome. This is my own word, my own definition, to try to define and understand what some women in churches and those who have left the church decided they've had enough and they just leave and go and say, no, this religion is against women. So there's an Eve syndrome I've noticed, and to define it in a nutshell is the feeling of shame or guilt at the mention of Eve's name and her fall in the Garden of Eden. eaten. It's also what is part of the syndrome is the frustration and even sometimes I say anger at being called the weaker or deceptive sex. I wanted to give women in my book a well-researched resource to help them to discover who they are in God and in the scope of Christianity itself. All of the chapters within the book came about by the frustrations and curiosity women have voiced to me during my academic endeavors. I've had several conversations. A lot of times people pull me to the side and ask me in hushed tone, or what do you think about this, or is this really true, what do I have to be quiet and so meek at all times to be a woman? So many of them shared with me their desire to have a more fulfilled Christian life and believe that the stipulation on silence somehow would keep them from having a robust relationship with God, personally and even publicly, because they just felt so tainted by the history of Eve that they just didn't know what to do, because they could always have that point and say, you know, it was because of you, you're getting out of hand just like before in the garden. So that's really why I wanted to write this book and to look at it and to begin a dialogue. Like I say, it doesn't form your opinion, it doesn't instruct you or pressure you to have an opinion. It's just like, let's have more dialogue so there won't be so many people who have to be pulled to the side and these questions are in a hushed tone. We can't even speak it out loud. I don't understand what my role is and how I am in the image of God. So that's why I wanted to write When Will Eve Be Forgiven? Now, who would benefit from my book? Well, I consider this book as a family legacy. Women should have this book and pass it down to daughters, share with sisters, grandchildren. I really do believe it's just that valuable in helping you to understand the role of women in Christianity and as we are now in modernity. I think that it's a valuable aid for spiritual wellness. So I can call them When Will Eve Be Forgiven? When Will Eve Be Well, as it relates to generations to come. But it also can help women form a positive and complete understanding of womanhood. It could be a great study aid for Bible studies or other small groups, and it can be used for seminary material to teach on the image of God. Men would also benefit from reading When Will Eve Be Forgiven? Understanding the deep generational scars sin can leave and the importance of Jesus' birth, life, death, and resurrection, and its atoning powers. It has atoning powers. So now, I've just given you a brief history of my book, When Will Eve Be Forgiven? And I wanted to read what's on the back cover. It says, history has said women are a necessary evil, a natural temptation, a desirable calamity, a domestic peril, a deadly fascination, and painted ills. That was Christendom. Women are the gateway to hell, like Tertullian said. Women do not have a soul and do not belong to the human race, as shown by many passages of Holy Scripture. And that was Valentius Acidalius said that. Now, my book clarifies how God feels about and defines women in Scripture, why the Apostle Paul is not a chauvinist, and why women should forgive themselves first instead of relying on others to establish their self-worth within Christianity. And I said after reading this, you will be empowered. So, I thank you for tuning into my site. You can contact me on Facebook.com using my name Dorothy Guyton and friend me. You can also reach me on my blog, which is www.dirt2diamondsblogspot.com. You can also leave comments and questions here on this channel where I can get back to you and we can begin this dialogue. My books can be purchased at any time on Amazon.com, and also this is one word, buybooksontheweb.com. Now look for upcoming videos and your chance to win one of my free books. So for now, Bye-bye and see you later.